Hello and a very good day to you. You're welcome to another episode of your darling program, Youth Can, on independent television, ITV. I am your host, Joy Igoche. Youth Can is that very interesting program created by ITV to enlighten, bring together youth with creative and entrepreneurship ideas geared towards the development of the society. I believe by now you want to tap somebody and tell somebody to keep it glued to the screen while we give you another interesting dose of your darling program. As the year gradually is drawing to an end and you see a lot of tension here and there, so today we are going to be talking about managing expectations as youths. Managing expectations as youths. There are a whole lot of expectations there. You see, a lot of thinking, especially in this kind of world we find ourselves today. Our economy is tough. You see people are just looking for where to scream. They're looking for what to say. It's not about telling somebody like, I understand what you're going through, I understand how you feel, because in real sense, nobody actually does. Nobody understands. Nobody can tell you how you're feeling except you, who is actually wearing the shoes. So we're talking about expectations. We cannot stop having expectations. But imagine a world where you don't even know what to expect. You cannot be sure whether you have food on your plate today. You cannot be sure whether you have a place to stay, a place to lay your head. A whole lot of things out there, school, life, business, expectations here and there. And now we are moving towards the end of the year. Now, the question in our mind the question in our heart is, it is not just about having these expectations. So what happens when your expectations, like everything you've been wishing for and everything just, everything start going south and your best laid plans are thwarted? Everything you are hoping for, you have been working towards these things and it's not going in line with the way you want it to go. It's not, it's not just going well. You feel like you're stagnated, that life is not going the way you planned. A whole lot of things are going out there, a whole lot of problems, a whole lot of issues. My amiable viewers, there's so much questions screaming for answers. We'll be going on a short break now, and when we return, we'll be doing justice to this topic with a guest. Feel free to keep it glued to your screen. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. You know what time it is. Youth Can. And today we've been having the time of time of our lives. We've been having this very, very interesting discourse of managing expectations as youth. And like I promised, I said immediately after the break we'll be having a special guest to do justice to this topic. I have with me in the studio Mr. Gidado Shuaib.
Hello.
Thanks for coming, sir.
Thank you so much for having me as
You're
well.
welcome. We are very, very happy because we're talking about something really, really passionate today. We're talking about something that affects everybody.
Yeah.
We're talking about how to manage expectations as youths. As youth, a whole lot of things, happening in the world, and we're gradually coming to the end of the year.
Yeah.
And everybody, at the beginning of every year, you see people making plans, resolutions. By the end of the year, I want to get this, I want to get that.
Married, I want to buy a new car.
Yeah. So, and something about youth, we are everly ambitious.
True.
You understand? We have a lot of things going on. We have friends, we have peers. Imagine being at that point where you feel like everybody is just moving ahead and you're just stagnated. You're not moving along with the path. It can be really, really frustrating. So today we want to really know a wide range about expectations.
Yeah.
So what are expectations?
So basically, I would like to even start with, if you don't meet up your expectations and eventually go and steal, you get caught. So no matter what you're doing, just be patient, because only with consistency and follow your passion will you be able to get to where you're going to. So expectations happen this period is the time where everybody will be like, no, my neighbor is getting married, I haven't gotten married, this is becoming rich, I'm not rich yet, I want to change my car, I want to have flat, I want to be this, I want to be that. But the most important thing is that no matter your expectations, you should just know that every day you're making progress in your life. Make sure you set standards for either learning new things, creating a new network, be up to something. like make sure that you're up to something at all times. Don't just be caught on, just don't be caught seated without any purpose. So like you should be up to a purpose, not about expectations, to be honest. Be up to something. Like create activities that are meaningful and creative.
Okay, so are you saying that youth shouldn't have expectations? Some of all these things, you can't help it, actually.
Yes, therefore we should all have our expectations, but we should also understand that if eventually you're setting December as a period for you to get your expectations, like for you to get what you want, and it doesn't come through, then don't kill yourself. There's still a long time to live in life. But do you understand, as much as it is good for you to have high hopes and be optimistic about the future, but it's also necessary for you to understand that it's a process. Everything has to work within a process. So it's a continuous process, and eventually, if you're consistent, passionate, and prayerful, you get to it.
That's nice. So a scholar once categorized expectations into 3 groups. The first one is predictions, the second one is ambitions, and the third one is condition.
The
first one is prediction. That's to predict, to make prediction and say, okay, by this time, I should, this is what I would like to do. You're forecasting, you're making that prediction. Then the next one, the ambition, to drive home, to chase this prediction you've made. Then condition is like the reality.
Now you have to accept.
You understand the reality. So what's your take on these 3 groups?
So okay, I've been in business in Nigeria I've been in the media business in Nigeria for the past 5 years. I know that I always have what I always want to achieve. Like I think in like a while, this is the first December. I'll say, okay, we plan to do this. So last year we had plans of doing the campus journalism awards earlier, but COVID-19 came and scattered it, and we had to do it in another time. So you see, that's the condition for why we had to shift it. So like this year, we set it for December, and Omicron came with full force. So we're just praying to God that let's not have the ban yet. Let's just have the event before we move. So you see, you can't control some conditions. Apart from the conditions of health, like God is another very influential figure, and He might just decide to just make it happen in some other times. You might have problem with your funding. You might have problem with your finances. So like you must just have to understand that it takes a process of time. But no matter what it is, you should make sure that what you're aiming to get, you're pursuing it vigorously.
Okay, like are there any benefits of having expectations?
Yes, there are benefits because you set the bar. And if you set the bar, then you'll be able to run around. It's like when you go to school and you say you want to graduate school. That is why you went to school. So you're expecting to wear the gown. But after school, what's next? You have life to live. So like it helps you set the bar. If you don't have expectation and you're not optimistic about going to school, then you might not be able to get a good job. You might not be able to have the ego your friends will have. You might not have the self-identity and self-pride you wish to have. So I think it's good to have expectations, but you should also understand that expectations are not totally yourself. There are also a lot of external factors that will affect it. So once it comes that way, accept it gladly and move on.
So what are the consequences of having expectations, either positive or negative?
So positively, if you have your expectations, you are able to achieve something. This is what you're aiming to get. Do you understand? Positively. But negatively, if you don't eventually get it, now wahala for you. Do you understand? Because if you don't get it, you might be sad. But the good thing about it is that no matter what it is, as long as you have where you're going to eventually, you will get there. Just keep being consistent and being prayerful. As long as what you're doing is legal and you have like a pure mind towards anything and you're not cheating anybody, like there's a sincerity of purpose in what you're doing. So eventually you get what you want.
Okay, so quickly, let's go to our topic of discussion today.
Yeah.
How can youths manage expectations?
So youth can manage. Okay, so first and foremost, the world is growing. Most especially Nigeria, the unemployment rate is, we're in inflation now. We're having a lot of problems left and right. So for young people now, we must be very creative and innovative. We must be able to look at where there are problems and find solutions to them. So I think when you're able to find solutions, when you're able to create something that people will buy into, then you're already making a direction towards where you're going to. Because at first you need a direction. You need to have this is what you want to do. We can't just wake up today and be like, you're doing 97 things, like you're a plumber, you're an engineer, you have to have like a line that when people say, oh, this guy is a plumber, and if you're talking about a plumber, he's the only plumber, do you understand? Let people talk about you like, when is it? So then you're already moving in that direction to meet up with your expectations. So like, I think first things first is that young people must be able to hone their trade. Look for what you have passion in and to meet up.
As the year gradually comes to an end, what is your advice for youths out there that have deadlines for their expectations?
So, if you want to go to the market now and even buy a mudu of rice that used to be 300, now it's 700, so you can't kill yourself. Things have changed. Do you understand? You see the state we are in now, there's a financial crisis, insecurity is like bothering us. Like, the expectation should be happy that you are alive. Do you understand? First and foremost, you should be glad that yes, you made it to the end of the year. You made it to like this period in your life. Like 2022 is going to be a very big year for young Nigerians, because 2023 we're seeing the elections, and 2022 is going to be a determining factor for Nigerian young people to find a space in the Nigerian political sphere. So I think it is most necessary for us to take advantage of the opportunities available in there, and think about how you can strategize, how you could create a network with some set of young people and come up with something good. Because we see our politicians today are scared of young people. We had the NSAS movement in this year, and you saw what the actions were like. You say politicians were scared. Our leaders were panicked about what are these young people up to. So this is the time for us to leverage and find, campaign, and seek for a position in our political circle. Because most young people don't believe that, yes, we are part of the people that should be calculated in politics. But really, in the main sense, we're the future of this country. Our leaders are in their 70s and their 60s. They're all, old people eventually. But as young people who have the strength to go out there, so it's necessary for us to take advantage of it. Put our expectations now should taking over leadership, not actually taking over leadership by force or by whole. By learning how people have gone about it, try to create something that people would appreciate. And we need to campaign, because you can see the crisis that is happening around the world. You can see the way our oil is going down by today. You can see the way all our money is going into recurrent expenditures. You can see the state of our roads. You can see the state of our electricity, water, a lot of problems. So our expectation should be, let's control this political cycle so that we could be able to fix our country and have a better life.
Thank you very, very much for that. Yeah. Thank you very much. To contribute to this discussion, you can send a text message to the number on your screen and to participate in this dial-in program. And if you've missed several episodes of our program, you can subscribe to our YouTube ITV and search for your lovely program Youth Can. You can watch several episodes, leave your comments, like, subscribe and all. So yes, we'll want to quickly take a look at some memes and social media posts about expectations of youths quickly. So I'm going to be reading some posts for you, as you can see on the screen. The first one here, we have this lady is saying, the independent woman in me is remaining 1%. Biko no. It's like na housewife sure paso. Probably this one must have gotten a whole lot of expectations, on herself, and she's feeling depressed now, not having been able to do what she wants. Then there's another one here, say, please don't wait to see the worst things happen to others or see people hardship before you thank God for your life. People are experiencing real hardship, suffering, more than what we see on social media. Thank God for what you have. And we have another one that says, the society is so rigged against the men, the only gender that is expected to be rich no matter the consequences. He said probably that's why the reason women live longer than men. Okay, the last we'll take is this. I tasted all that was sweet, but I found nothing sweeter than good health. I tasted all that was bitter, but nothing was more bitter than being in need of people. And I carried both iron and rocks, but nothing was more heavier than death. Know that life is 2 days, a day for you and a day against you. So when it is for you, do not be reckless, and when it is against you, just be patient. Both days shall expire. So this is what we've been talking about, and we've had a very, very good insight about expectations today, managing expectations as youth and all of that. We'll be going on a quick break now, and when we return, we'll be wrapping up this program. Stay tuned, don't go nowhere. You're welcome back again, and of course, it's still your darling program, Youth Can, on independent television, ITV. Today has been one very interesting day, and a passionate one at that, because it's speaking to not just me, speaking to you, speaking to the both of us. It's touching us somewhere within us. And you know what we're talking about? We've been talking about managing expectations as youth. So managing expectations can sometimes involve finding the balance between motivation and pressure. A whole lot of pressure out there, a whole lot of problems in the world. You know, people just want to tell you, aspire to inspire, you know, this motivational stuff. And we're like, no, this is not about motivation. This is about reality. This is about what is paining us. This is about what life is serving us. You understand what I'm talking about? So one of the most important things about, you know, effectively creating expectations is making sure that your expectations you are creating are not unrealistic, because unrealistic expectations can lead to frustration. When you set, you set the bar so high, you set things that, are not feasible. You just want to just give yourself a break. Take one day at a time. Take life gradually. Give yourself a break. This is not about not having ambition. Yes, you should be ambitious. You should have what you want to do, but don't mount so much pressure on yourself, because if you find yourself at the long run not getting that which you want to get, not realizing or achieving that goal you want to achieve, you see that you'll be very, very depressed, and that's very, very bad. That's bad. It's okay not to have achieved that thing that you've made, that resolution you made at the beginning of the year. The new year comes with a happy new year, resolutions. I want to do this by the end of the year. I want to get this, I want to get that. It's okay not to have achieved that which you plan to. Okay, by the end of this year, I want to get this, and this done. It's okay to feel sad about it. Yes, it's very okay to feel like, yes, I didn't get this. I'm not happy about it. That is okay. And it is very, very much okay to rise up again and forge ahead with that plan. December is not the deadline for achieving goals. You know, you say, okay, if I don't get it by the end of this year, you want to commit suicide, you want to be depressed, you want to kill yourself because of that. Take it easy on yourself. December is not the deadline for achieving all these things. There are a whole lot of expectations. When you can't meet up, you know, with that time you gave to yourself, you re-strategize and go ahead, you know, you go on again with that. So I'm telling you today, manage your expectations well to ease frustration, because you cannot just, you know, let things like this weigh you down. Making the best out of expectations is understanding the concept of acceptance and change. Yes, if you want to make the most out of expectations, you have to understand the concept of both acceptance and change. You accept your situation, accept what is going on, then be willing to change, be willing to adapt, be willing to re-strategize, get up, you know, and you go on again. You know, this life is a journey. It's like a battlefield. You have to keep on striving for that which you want to achieve. With this, we'll be drawing close the curtain of this very interesting program for today. Do well to join us same time next week for another thrilling episode of your darling program, Youth Can, on ITV. I have been your host, Joy Igoche.